Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. Today we are going to study the second half and also complete chapter 17 of the prophet Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu. This is obviously a direct continuation of what we just learned in the first half. When we just finished the first half, we had learned that God had told the prophet some famous statements that Baruch HaGever, blessed is the man who places his faith and trust in God. Cursed is the man who places his faith and trust in human beings. We learned that God promised us true justice. God promised us, I know what is really in the souls of mankind. I know what is in their heart. True justice will come. Those who accumulated wealth through injustice will lose that wealth. All of this sounds beautiful, sounds wonderful, but to Jeremiah, to the prophet, who is now standing in a time where he is speaking to the people, trying to convince the people to change their ways, trying to convince the people to realize that they're on a destructive path. But instead of getting any success and getting people to improve, instead people are making fun of him, people are plotting against him, people are making him suffer. What Yirmiyahu sees with his own eyes is anything but the justice which God just promised him. So naturally, one would assume that Yirmiyahu, the prophet, would, or anyone, would then question that justice and say, is this really true? But Yirmiyahu doesn't do that. He still has faith in God. But then he begs God, so if this is the case, and I'm trusting you now, then, let's read verse 14. Rifa'eni Adonai ve'erafei. Then in that case, heal me, God, and I will be healed. Heal me of these wounds that are being inflicted upon me, both the physical wounds and that people are perpetrating against me, and the internal wounds, the wounds that the people are hurling insults at me. Hoshi'eni, save me, v'ivashehan, then I will be saved. So if this justice is going to happen, God, do it, please. Ki tehilati. You are the one in whom I seek glory. I don't seek glory in being glorified by the people. I don't seek glory by being put up in the front on a big fancy chair. I don't seek glory by asking for material wealth. I seek glory in you, God. So heal me. Show me this justice of which you promise. Hine, behold, despite this promise, and this is verse 15, Hema omrim Eloi, they are saying to me, Ayed var Adonai, where is this word of God you speak of? You're telling us about all of this punishment we're going to get for the things we're doing wrong. Yavono, let it happen. No, what's going on? It's not happening. You see, all the people are making fun and laughing because I'm telling them about this and this and this is going to happen, and it's not happening. In the meantime, I'm the one that is being made fun of. Va'ani, and Yirmiyahu says, Lo atzti me'ro'eh acharecha. I didn't rush to be your shepherd after you. I didn't come knocking on your doors, God, and asked for this mission. You asked me to do this mission. I didn't want it in the first place. I'm doing what you asked me to do. I didn't say, I want to be the leader, and I didn't put up a soapbox in the middle of the park on my own and start preaching because I wanted to. I'm doing it because you asked me. V'yom anush. And this day of illness, this day of twistedness that's in my heart, lo itavesi. I didn't desire this. I didn't want this to be my lot. Ata yodata, you have known all this time, motza sifasai. You have always known everything that I have said. You know that I originally didn't want this mission, and you know that everything that I've said until now was because you asked me. Nochach panecha haya. Everything that I have done, everything that I have said, my entire heart, all of my intentions are directly in front of you, and they have always been. Al tiyeh li lemechita. Therefore, he prays to God in verse 17. Please don't be my fear. Don't be something that I am afraid of. Please don't, God, don't make me be afraid and scared and worried about you. Rather, machsiata, you are my refuge biyomra, on a bad day. You, God, you're to the one to whom I run for safety. Please protect me. Yevosha road vai. Let them be the ones that get embarrassed. Vi al evosha ani. Don't make me be the one that are embarrassed. Let them be the ones that are afraid. But let me not be the one that's afraid. Bring the evil upon them, the bad day. Bring the bad things upon them. And you can crush them with extra double crushing the people that are so evil and so awful, both to me and to you and to each other. So then God tells Yirmiyahu another job. As far as we can tell, God didn't directly answer this impassioned plea of Yirmiyahu, but rather he answered by giving him another job that people weren't going to listen to. And Yirmiyahu is just going to have to be faithful and do this new job. So God said to me, go and stand up in the gates where the people come into the city of Jerusalem, the main gate of the city through which the kings of Judah go in and out, and the ones they leave through, and then go in all the gates of Jerusalem. So go to the main gate and deliver this message, and go to all the gates and deliver the same message. And I want you to say to all the people, Shemu Dvar Adonai, listen to the word of God, Malchei Yehuda, you kings of Yehuda. So in other words, go to the main gate and address the kings themselves as they leave and enter the city. V'chol Yehuda, and all the people of Yehuda. V'chol Yerushalayim, and all of the residents of the city of Jerusalem. Haboim b'sha'orim ha'ela, all of you who come in and out of these gates. I am giving you a message. Ko amar Adonai, so says God. Hishamru b'nafshosechem, be careful with yourselves. Be concerned about your own well-being. Ve'al tis'u masal b'yom haShabbat, and do not carry packages and burdens on the day of the Sabbath, on the day of Shabbat. And bring them into the gates of Jerusalem. In other words, people were coming on Shabbat, on Shabbos, to Jerusalem, to the temple to pray, but they were coming with their packages. They were coming with their weekday packages, with their business packages, with their produce to sell, with their money to buy things. They were coming, but they were coming with the wrong intentions and not keeping the Sabbath. Do not take your packages from your homes on the day of the Shabbat. Don't take these packages. You know you're not allowed to carry items from your homes into the city. This is a prohibition on Shabbat. You're not allowed to do that. And no work, and all work, lo tasu, you should not do. Do not do the work. This is a day for God. You should make the day of Shabbat holy. The day of Shabbos, the Sabbath, should be a holy day. Should be a day to study, to contemplate, to think about the things I've been teaching you. Just like I commanded your forefathers. However, what's going to happen? V'lo shama'u, and they will not listen. V'lo hitu et oznam, they will not even turn their ears. They won't pay any attention to you. Vayakshu et arpam, they will stiffen their necks. Literally, they will be stubborn. Levilti shemoa, and they will refuse to listen. Ulevilti kachat musar, and they will not take rebuke. They will not accept criticism. V'hayam shemoa tishmu'un elai. However, God says the chance is always there. If they do listen to me, Adonai says God, Levilti havimasa, and they don't bring in their burdens b'shari ha'ir hazos, into the gates of the city b'yom HaShabbat, in the day of the Sabbath, u'lekadesh es yom HaShabbat, and to make the day of the Sabbath holy, Levilti asot bo kol melacha, to avoid doing all work. If they do listen, uva'u v'sharei ha'ir hazos, and they come into the city, milachim v'sarim, the kings and the officers and the noblemen, yoshvim al kisei David, those who sit on the throne of David, rochvim barechev, riding in their chariots, vasusim, and the horses, hema v'sareim, ish Yehuda v'yoshvei Yerushalayim, the people of Yehuda and the dwellers of the city of Jerusalem, then v'yoshva ha'ir hazot le'olam. Then, in other words, if they keep these rules, then they will come in proud, riding on the horses, on chariots, from now until all the future times and days. Keep the day of Sabbath, and listen to my rebuke, and then don't worry, everything will be saved. Uva'u me'er Yehuda, and people will come from all of the cities of Judah, Misvivot Yerushalayim, all the surrounding places of Jerusalem, Me'eretz Binyamin, and from the land of Benjamin, Umin Ashvela, and from the lower plains, Umin Ahar, and from the mountains, Umin Negev, and from the southern deserts, Umevian Ola of Zevach, they will come to bring sacrifices, Umincha, Ulavona, and grain offerings, and incense, Umevie Toda, and offerings of thanks, Beit Adonai, to the house of God. However, Ve'im lo tishmu Eli, but if they do not listen to me, L'kadesh es Yom HaShabbat, to make the day of the Sabbath holy, U'levil tiseit masa, and to stop carrying their packages and burdens, Uvo b'shar Yerushalayim b'Yom HaShabbat, and they come and they bring these packages with them into the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath, V'hitzati eish b'sharah, then I will burn the gates, I will scorch the gates of the city with flames of destruction, v'yachlar menot Yerushalayim, and they will destroy the fortresses of Jerusalem, the lo tichpeh, and those flames will never go out. So here we see Yirmiyahu, the prophet, being given the message to bring to the people to keep the day of the Sabbath. Obviously the day of the Sabbath is an extremely important part of the Torah. It's extremely important, one of the rules and laws and practices that God gave the Jewish people. However, I want to point out over here that choosing the Sabbath wasn't just choosing as the test here. There's a reason why it follows from the first half of this chapter. In the first half of this chapter, we learned God said, "Blessed is he who has faith in God, who trusts God, and cursed he who trusts human beings." And we also learned the idea that the temple is a representation of the idea that God just doesn't only reside in the heavens, but he resides right here on earth with us, and that God is relevant to us here on earth in our existence in front of us. The mitzvah, the idea and the concept of the Sabbath is probably the most concrete way in which we demonstrate this faith and this belief that God created the world, that it is to him in whom we put our faith, not into ourselves. Someone who has faith in God is able to stop his business on the day of Sabbath and spend time with God. A person who does not have faith in God and thinks that only in human beings does he have strength is not able to do that on the Sabbath. He's going to work on the Sabbath day. He's going to try to make business on the Sabbath day. He's not going to devote time to God because he thinks that the only way for him to make it in this world is to rely on people. Having faith in God is having faith in the idea that God is on this world and that he is in control of what we do and what we don't have in this world, and what and in whom we can put our faith and our trust. Therefore, it fits very well that this is the commandment that God tells Yirmiyahu. God tells Yirmiyahu, after saying, "Blessed he who has faith in God, now go tell the people to keep the Sabbath." Thank you so much for studying chapter 17 together with me. Looking forward to studying chapter 18 and, of course, eventually the entire book of Yirmiyahu and beyond. Have a wonderful day.